So I took the trip to Thailand with my mom. I stayed there for 2 weeks. I stayed about 5 days in Bangkok and 10 days in Pattaya, which is right next to Jomtien Beach. We actually stayed within Jomtien Beach. And it was my first time doing a group trip that was organized by somebody else, which means I didn't do any research. This was a major mistake. Usually when I travel, I do extensive research, I plan everything out. I at least have an idea of the things I think I'm going to do. You know, I just don't really have very much time. So when my mom called me up saying that she knows this person who plans trips and she's gonna put it all together, I was like, sign me up for that. However, when the trip got closer, you know, I started to do some research about Pattaya and typed in the city into YouTube, and I saw some of the thumbnails on YouTube and started reading stuff. So I felt like it might be a little bit of an awkward trip going with my mom, but ultimately we had fun, man. And yes, you can make it a family-friendly trip. So over the course of this video, I'll break down what I did, the things that I recommend, what I'd skip, and about how much I spent, along with some tips along the way. Majority of time was spent on Jomtien Beach. I stayed in a hotel called Divari Jomtien, and overall it was a pretty good experience after we upgraded our room. If you're staying in the Divari Jomtien Beach Hotel, just understand that they're undergoing renovations. At least when I went there in December of 2024. We got into a room that was not renovated. At first, it was terrible. We literally couldn't stay there and ended up upgrading our room. The bathroom was super old and dirty, so we had to get out of there, which kind of sucked. But once we got into an upgraded room, the experience was much better. It is a very nice hotel if you upgrade your room. Other than that, it's right on the beach. You probably won't go to the beach right in front of the hotel. There are different parts of Jomtien Beach. So in the video, I'll kind of show you like what those different parts look like. There's a gay section where there's a bunch of like Europeans, like Russians, and you know, I'm just walking and all of a sudden I see these people staring at me, and I'm like, why are people staring at me? And connected the dots. Jomtien Beach is beautiful. Like, you can definitely spend a lot of time here. It's not the nicest beach in the area, so I'll walk you through some other nicer parts of the beaches near Pattaya and Jomtien. I think I still spend quite a bit of time there just hanging out. The sand can get really hot. I had to make sure that I rented an umbrella because the sun was literally burning my feet on Jomtien Beach. There's just no way around it. It's hot as fuck. I remember I came home the night of New Year's and there was people on the beach chilling until sunrise, really. There's a lot of families, but I guess all the families come to Jomtien Beach to hang out, to kind of stay away from all the madness that is Pattaya. So I'm pretty glad that we stayed here. It's not the Phi Islands. If I had planned my trip, I probably would have gone to the Phi Islands or Phuket. But overall, I still had a good time. Overall, if you're staying in Bangkok and you just want a day trip to the beach, you can definitely do that at Jomtien. So next, we're gonna talk about Pattaya Beach on New Year's. Now, we took a taxi to get down to the beach in Pattaya from Jomtien Beach. It took about 30 minutes. Once you even get close to the strip, you just have to get out and walk. We ended up walking through, I believe it's called Terminal 21, a real fancy mall, to get onto the beach. We rented beach chairs. So they have stands that are set up along the beach and they sell all kind of food. You can find literally any food. Like, there's just so many people out there for this. It can get a little overwhelming if you don't like big crowds, but nothing happened. It was super chill. You know, people were just trying to have a good time. There's a concert going on which they were selling tickets for. I didn't have any tickets, so I couldn't get in. I kind of watched from the street, but you know, I just wanted to see how many people were outside and you know what they're doing. It was great for people watching. You know, I think I'm at the age where I might be done with stuff like that, but it's definitely worth the try if you're in Pattaya for New Year's. I ended up leaving like right after the fireworks were done, just because I had to get up early the next day. I was in charge of our next outing on a boat for New Year's Day. We had to get there at like 6 a.m. So right after all these fireworks, which were beautiful, tremendous, I had to get out of there. I ended up walking through some walking streets because the street right next to Pattaya Beach, you can't leave. But there's so many people leaving at the same time that nobody's going to pick you up. So I had to walk for about 45 minutes and I was still trying to order a Grab all throughout those 45 minutes. But eventually I saw this dude riding by on a motorbike. Luckily he gave me a ride back to Jomtien Beach. So that's how I got out of there, and I ended up getting back just in time to sleep a little before the next part of the trip. So next, I just want to give some quick highlights from my Catamaran Island tour. They have this excursion that you can book on Viator. It's $100. It's a day-long trip. So what happens is the company will actually pick you up from your hotel. So you'll tell them what hotel you're at. They picked us right up from the Devery Hotel and drove us to the marina. I think it was like a 15-minute drive, and we spent the whole day on a yacht. Our group had about 12 people. You go to 3 different islands, and I wanted to make sure that I do this because we also had a part of our trip where we went to Koh Larn Island, and I didn't want to go just to that one island. I want to make sure that I had a couple different experiences. So if you're in Bangkok and you do want to add this to your itinerary, you could. If you want to spend a whole week or maybe a weekend in Pattaya or Jomtien Beach, this is an add-on that you could do. I think it was really worth it for $100. They have a buffet lunch, for example. You go to what I thought was the best beach I saw in Thailand, which was called Phai. We weren't able to get into the actual island of Koh Larn because they said turtles were laying eggs. But we did also get to go to Monkey Island. And actually in Koh Larn, they took us off the boat to another monkey island where there were no people at all. We actually just threw bananas onto the island. So I don't know that those monkeys had any contact with humans, which is maybe why we didn't go all the way onto that island. The other monkey island you do get on, but it's very cool. You know, I've never seen monkeys up close, but you can tell that they're definitely used to humans, and they're just kind of trash. The organizers are really cool. You know, they make sure that you have whatever you want. You know, you get to snorkel, a slide that goes off the side of the boat. They have fishing rods in case you want to fish. You know, they have bait and everything. There are 2 levels to the boat, so you can go up and just chill on the top. You can chill on the bottom of the boat. It was a really cool experience. I definitely think it's 1000% worth it. I guess it depends on what kind of group you have on the boat, like what the vibes are. There are a few young people on my boat, so I mean, I had fun getting to know them. So yeah, it might be kind of a party atmosphere if you have those types of people on the boat, but if not, it'll be something that's just super chill. And that's all I wanted. I just wanted to relax on the yacht on New Year's Day and have a good time. And that definitely happened. So the next beach that we spent time at, and this is probably the only thing that I researched that, you know, I found out that we were doing, is going to Koh Larn. And I guess that's just the thing that people do when they come to Pattaya, which I really thought it was a cool island to definitely visit. You have to go to Pattaya, and then you take a ferry boat over to Koh Larn Island. It's about 30 to 45 minutes. It's also very cheap. I don't remember how much it cost, but it has to be like, I think it was like $2 or so. So they drop you right off on Thailand Beach. That's the main beach that is going to have the most people. But there you can book all your excursions. So if you want to get a motorbike, for example, you can do that. Just make sure that you know how to actually drive. Don't try to get on for the first time and do this on this island. The island is very hilly. You can get up to like 50 miles an hour. It was the first time I did it, and you know, thinking back through it, I probably shouldn't have done it. The motorbike cost 300 baht. And it did not come with a helmet, which is why it was so cheap. As you go up and down the little pathway, you'll notice the difference in prices. So the more expensive ones are, I guess it might be a little nicer of a bike, but it also comes with a helmet. So just keep these things in mind because you can definitely get hurt. I came across a little girl who had scraped her knee, and her family was helping her up. People from my trip, like, they tried to get on the motorbikes and were literally getting on it and just flooring it, thinking that they could just do it, right? And the Thai people who were renting the bikes told them no, they can't rent it. So just, yeah, keep that in mind. So to get in between each beach, it's probably about 15 minutes at the most. Like I said, you'll kind of wind through the entire island, so you can go all the way around, or you can cut directly through the island. Sometimes you'll come off of streets and have to get on the sidewalk, but it just depends on the route that you're taking. Like I said, I went from Taiwan to Saep Beach to Thai Beach. Thai Beach being the beach that I spent the most time at. That was my favorite beach that I visited, apart from the beach and the Catamaran tour. So yeah, Saep Beach is very cool. Pretty much both similar. Saep does not have like a bar, so when you go to Thai Beach, it seems like it's more developed. It has an actual pathway that goes down to the beach, whereas Saep Beach is kind of just like you're walking down sand, which isn't an issue. But yeah, we just walked around and explored, and like I said, it took around 15 minutes to get around to each beach. There were a few beaches that I didn't get to go to, but I think if I could do it again, I would plan out each beach just to make sure that I had enough time. Because you do need to get back. If you plan to go back to Pattaya, you need to make sure that you're keeping track of the times, like when the ferry actually leaves at the end of the day. And I also had somebody with me, of course. They didn't want to keep moving around. I want to see everything, but I just wasn't able to. But you know, you can really pick any of these beaches and you'll have a great time, even if you just go to one. So I also did some other things in my trip to Pattaya. And of course I want to get around to all the landmarks. We also did a Pattaya city tour, which was pretty cool. The city tour takes just takes one day. And they do take you around to everything in the city. We went to a cabaret show, Tiffany's Cabaret. Like I said, I keep an open mind, I do everything, but it was like a middle school dance. Honestly, I think middle schoolers could have did better. You know, like people get on stage and they do a play or they do like a musical, for example, and like they're really dancing, right? Really singing. It wasn't like that. It was just kind of like they were faking it, and I guess we're supposed to just play along. Yeah, I would not recommend that. I don't think any of y'all are gonna do that, but don't if you're going to. Let me mention a few of the places that we ate at. We ate at Qulture Lounge, the Black-owned restaurant on Pattaya, and it's really famous. Like when I came back and started to do more research about Pattaya, I saw that everybody goes to this restaurant, and the owner's super nice. So come up and introduce yourself. We had like a private catering where they gave us like all you can eat food, probably the best food that we ate in Thailand for sure. But you got to make sure that you visit this. The food is just amazing. The vibes are amazing. They have like a jazz player that comes and plays one night. We also went to this place called the Monkey Café, which was pretty cool. It had really good food. My mom had a B-52 shot from there. So I would recommend that place. It's super chill. All of the servers were very nice to us. And then right in front of the Divari Hotel, there's like a beach bar where we spent a lot of time. We got a lot of drinks at this place. And once again, the people were very nice. If you want to go out there for a sunset, it's beautiful. And then they also have live music a lot of the time. And they have their own, like, I guess, food festival that you can spend time at. So I would also recommend that as well. But you really can't go wrong anywhere. If you like Thai food, Thai food probably isn't my favorite after going to Thailand. Now, one thing that I definitely would not recommend is Nong Nooch Botanical Gardens. Doing research, people are saying that this was an awesome experience. It's something that you should definitely recommend. Like, this is a world-class botanical garden. I would not recommend it. It was nice at first. I guess we should have just walked around the front of the park more before we got. They take you on like a tour in a little Jeep, and you drive and you see some, I guess, flowers. And then you start seeing a whole bunch of like plastic animals. It's like thousands of plastic animals, and it's just like, it's kind of weird. Like I thought it was a botanical garden, but I guess that's also the main attraction, which I guess is nice if that's what you want to see. But in a botanical garden, I thought we were just gonna see flowers. And just being in Thailand for that amount of time, I saw like a lot of cool trees and like plants and stuff. So I thought that the botanical garden would be like a really cool experience, especially for my mom, because I know that she likes like greenery and things like that. Maybe if you do go, just don't get on the little truck that takes you around. Next, we have the Sanctuary of Truth, which is a huge wooden temple. And one of the things that they told us is that it's constantly under construction. So when we were there, we had to actually put on a helmet because they were still working on it. The architecture is extremely detailed. So if you take a tour, just be prepared that they're going to tell you about literally everything. So, I mean, if you're into that, if you really like architecture, then it's cool. You know, I don't think that we had to stay with the tour guide, but you may want to break off after about 30 minutes because it kind of gets repetitive. But the structure in general and the fact that it's made out of wood is amazing. It really is huge. You know, I hope that my video does it justice. I have one like really zoomed out, but when you get like right under the Sanctuary of Truth, you can see just how large it is. I thought it's definitely worth visiting. And that's something that can be bundled into a Pattaya, like a city day tour. And then we also went to the Pattaya Bay Overlook, which gives you just a beautiful view of Pattaya. And then we went to go and see the big Buddha statue, which is awesome. Like all the statues in Thailand were just really cool. But it's another statue that people pay homage to. Like when you're going up the steps, it has like these cool dragons on the side that, I mean, I definitely thought it was worth it. Again, I'm not Buddhist, so maybe I didn't get what I was supposed to get out of that, but it's always cool to see these statues. And they take pretty nice pictures. as well. That's one of the other things that I got, and I wish I had gotten 2 pictures because I only got one with my mom. But they only charge you like $3 and they give you a frame with it. So I got a nice little souvenir with my mom. I don't want to make sure I'm not gonna show her, but here's me. It's pretty cool. You know, it costs like $3. So you can see the statue on the back and then like the scenery to the sides. And then one of my favorite things that we did is we went to an elephant sanctuary. That also I would highly recommend. It's just so cool. It was very peaceful. We went to an ethical sanctuary. They really hammered it home that, you know, the elephants were not like in slavery or anything. They were happy, like they just chill, they get fed, and it's a sanctuary for them, which was cool in contrast to Nong Nooch. We went to the elephant sanctuary before we went to Nong Nooch, and like you can look at the animals and see the difference in how they're treated. In Nong Nooch, they give like elephant rides, for example. And in the elephant sanctuary, they specifically say like, we don't ride our elephants, for example. They don't work. The ones just look like super tired. So I'm not even really an animal person, but I was really moved by the experience after like seeing the contrast between the sanctuary and Nong Nooch. You feed, you bathe, and they give you like different elephant facts, and you make elephant food. You do some paper with elephant dung. So it's a very educational experience, once in a lifetime experience for sure. You know, I'd never been that close to an elephant in my life. I didn't actually bathe the elephant. I only touched the elephant one time and fed it a little bit. The majority of the time I was just taking pictures of other people, but you know, I feel like when everyone goes to Thailand, they see elephants, they go to an elephant sanctuary. I don't even think y'all need my recommendation, but definitely do it if you go. First place I got to was Bangkok, and I went to what's called the Grand Palace. And you know, I got there, I thought I was getting there early, but you know, I would recommend you get there as early as possible because this is a major tourist destination. So people go to Thailand, they're going to the National Palace. By the time I got there, and you'll kind of see it in the video, it was packed. I had tried to get an audio guide, or they actually gave out the last one as I was in line. So I couldn't get one of those, and I thought I'd be fine. I didn't really see any guides. You know how usually when you go to an attraction, they have guides walking outside? I didn't see any of those. Before I went, people had warned me that you can't like you can't have a tank top on, for example. You need to show respect to certain places within Thailand and these temples. And yeah, by the time I got in, I went straight to see the Golden Buddha. There was literally so many people, you could not move. You're shoulder to shoulder. It's really cool. You know, it's a very grand area to be in. Like you can tell it's something that's important. It's just, unless you're a Buddhist maybe, or unless you have the audio guide or you have a tour guide, you may not really understand what's going on. So I would one of my tips is make sure that you get a guide. It's, you know, if you go in there, you're kind of just looking at stuff. I went to a few temples and they're cool to see at first, but I'm not Buddhist, so maybe I don't really understand what's going on. You know, somebody can educate me in the comments. You know, I was always respectful. You know, I took out my shoes off. I gave a little bit of money. I went in silence and just looked. But yeah, I'm not a Buddhist, so I guess I didn't really have that. I feel like when people go to Thailand, they have this religious experience where they find themselves. I didn't really have that. So yeah, I was just kind of looking at buildings at this part, but I think it's worth it if you get a guide. Now, 2 things I liked more than going to the National Palace was a museum called Museum Siam. So Museum Siam is more about culture, while the National Museum is more about like actual history of Thailand. So they have different statues, for example, of the Buddha and how the Buddha has been represented through time. They actually have like a replica of the house of some of their monarchs. So like you can go through each room and see like, this is the bathroom, this is his living room. That museum was very cool, the National Museum. Especially if you like history. I didn't really know that, first of all, I didn't even know that Thailand was a monarchy, and I didn't know that it's a relatively new country being formed in 1932. So, you know, just learning that general history was very cool. And then going to Museum Siam, which is more of like a cultural museum, I guess, where I did actually get an audio guide, which was Very helpful because it does explain a lot. It's more interactive than the National Museum. So they have like different exhibits that show you the different clothes that have been worn through Thai people over time. They show you what a Thai classroom is like and the things that Thai kids learn. They have a room that has all the different games that Thai kids may play or that are popular within Thai culture. So just to be able to play those games is very cool. They have a room that features like TV and movies, for example. So I really love my time in Museum Siam. Both of these museums are pretty cheap. Museum Siam, for example, was 100 baht, which is $3 US. And then the National Museum of Thailand is 200 baht, or about $6 US. The National Museum is larger than Museum Siam, so it's gonna take a little longer. I would say if you really like museums, it could take you 3 or 4 hours to get through. You know, if you don't really care, it'll probably take you about an hour or two to get through. And then Museum Siam might take, if you really love museums, up to 2 hours, but you can probably get through the whole thing in about an hour. But I would highly recommend both of them if you're a museum person and you're looking for something to do within Thailand. So honestly, you don't really need me for the malls and the different markets that are outside. I feel like everywhere you go, you're gonna run into a market anyways. But I went to MBK Mall, I went to Pratunam Night Market, I went to Chatuchak Night Market. I went there at night. It's huge. That was probably my favorite one. You do have to travel about 20 minutes to get there, but you can literally walk around there for like 3 hours if you want to. Pattaya Night Market, I walked through the flower market, for example. I went to Terminal 21, the mall. So I was even trying to find some sheets, for example, like some silk sheets from Thailand. So I didn't end up getting any of those, but I have more. If I looked a little bit harder, I probably could have found some. You can find anything. So this is one of the shirts I got from Thailand. The lady said it was 100% cotton. I don't know if it actually is or not. It's from a brand called Team Top. So I think it only costs like 10 bucks, really cheap. I've worn it like 5 or 6 times, but I think it looks pretty good. You know, I washed it several times. So I got like 10 different tank tops. I got swimming trunks out there. My recommendation would be to bring another suitcase. My mom bought a suitcase, for example. I'm gonna show you all the stuff I bought because like you really can just go crazy out here. And it's not that much. I got this towel. They sell these towels on the beach, Jomtien Beach. These are like 5 or 10 bucks. I would guess in the USA this would cost at least $20. So that was cool. I got this big mat, and I'm gonna use this in the USA on the beach. It's huge. You just sit on it. This was like 5 or 10 bucks, I think. So check this out. I got this painting. So yeah, like I said, I feel like when we're traveling, you know, I'm not gonna haggle with people. I'm gonna just give them what they ask. This guy asked for like 1,000 baht. I think it was like 35 bucks. And I think the painting was really cool. I thought it was worth way more than that. Like, I don't know if he really painted it or not. Like he was in there painting, but this is what it looks like. Let's see if I can get in here with it. I thought the detail was awesome. So y'all let me know if you thought it was worth 30 bucks. I thought it was worth way more than that, you know? So yeah, this is a really cool find. This was in the art market in Pattaya that I got this. So if you want some good art, check that out. So there are 2 boats that I want to tell you about when you're in Bangkok. One is the Chao Phraya Express boat. You buy a boat ticket and you can ride around all day up and down the main river in Thailand. And it's pretty cool. It's how I ended up just exploring different parts of the city over the course of the day. One of the stops that I got off at was Chinatown. And it's cool, you know, it's just Chinatown, like you've probably been to everywhere else. But it's packed. There's a million people. It's another market. I feel like everywhere you go in Thailand, you're gonna run into a market. But of course, I made sure to get some food here, which was pretty good. It can be a little claustrophobic, like it's gonna be tight in Chinatown. I think I went on a Saturday and maybe that's why it was so packed. But they have AC, so if you wanna go inside, usually there's seats. You just wanna make sure that you watch the time and make sure that you get back in time. But yeah, I jumped off, I got some food in each of the stops, so I would just walk around for about 30 minutes until I got too hot and went to the next spot. Definitely check that out as a way just to get around and see the city in a different way. Another boat is called the Khlong Saep boat, and I'm seeing that there's some videos on YouTube about it as well. I kept walking around randomly and I'd come over like these little canals and I'd see this boat just going somewhere. Eventually I found a way to get on. It's kind of like secluded, I guess. You kind of have to like, you look like you might be going into the river, but there's a dock and you can jump on the boat. And I didn't know how much it cost, so I think it was like 10 baht maybe. So the little girl came around and got the money for me. I didn't know where the boats went, but once again, I just want to try something different, get around the city in a different way. I would probably do a little bit more research than I did just so that you can kind of use it effectively. But it's cool because there is tourists, but there's less tourists. You can also go on public transit, which is cool. There are two different systems, which I got confused at. One time I thought I was on one system, I was on the other, and they're like, you can't use this. Like I had a token for one system and it went to the other one. Whenever I go outside the country, I make sure that I get on public transit. I feel like it's a good way to just be ingrained in the actual city where you're at. So I made sure to use that in Thailand. It's very clean. It seemed super efficient. It does get very crowded around rush hour, like 4 or 5 p.m. It's very cheap. I think I actually used it to get from the airport to downtown Bangkok. I had to get on my airplane on time, so I ended up taking a boat. But in general, just to get around, I think I took it to Chao market for example. If you're by a stop, you should definitely utilize that. We don't have public transit if you're not in a big city in the United States, so it might feel unfamiliar or weird, but usually the people who are helping you buy tickets are super helpful. So I went to Saranrom Park just to walk around. It was a nice park overall. There are nice little seating spots around. Like I saw people sitting on like the grass, for example. It's kind of over a pond, which is pretty cool. It's hot though. You know, if you want to visit this park during the day, just don't do that. It's too hot. The other park that I visited was Lumphini Park, and this park has monitor lizards everywhere. And I read that if you want to see those monitor lizards, you need to go around 4 or 5 p.m. And it's just cool because it's right in the middle of Bangkok. You know, you're gonna leave like all of this bustling traffic and then just go into this very calm park that has chess and board games, has some really cool trees. It has paddle boarding. So if you want to go out onto the river, you're able to do that. I didn't end up doing that, but I think I like Lumphini Park over Saranrom Park just because probably because I went during dusk and it was a little bit more comfortable to go. But there does seem to be a little bit more to do in Lumphini Park than in Saranrom. But they're both worth a stop if you're in Bangkok. So they also have what are called Tuk Tuks, and I had like seen these in the movies where you jump in and people just drive you around. They're really cool. They actually go pretty fast. My first Tuk Tuk ride, I almost got scammed. I got in and I had read online, like when you're taking a Tuk Tuk, make sure that you get the price beforehand. And I got in, I asked him how much it was. I think he said it's something like 100 baht. And when I had gotten to the destination, I only had 1,000 baht. I feel like I asked him if I had change, but maybe I didn't. And I was like, do you have change for this 1,000 baht? He was saying, no, I don't have any change. Just give me the 1,000 baht and we're good. I was like, dude, he was like, Happy New Year's. I'm like, bro, I'm not giving you, I think it was like $30 to go 5 minutes or so versus $3. And I'm not cheap, you know, I tip every single time in Thailand because I understand that they make a lot less money than people in the United States in Thailand, right? But I'm not giving this guy $30. So after I told him no a couple times, he took me to a 7-Eleven. If you ever need change, just go to a 7-Eleven and buy something. Now, if you're going to Thailand, just buy your tickets in advance. I don't understand why I waited so long. I think I got my tickets about 3 months before I went, and going during New Year's, the tickets were like $1,800. So that's where I spent the majority of my money, on that damn ticket. And I'm looking at tickets right now. You can get tickets for like 900 bucks, you know, if you don't go around New Year's and Christmas. If you go in like July, for example. And I think that's the rainy season, but will it really rain every day? I don't know. That's probably the biggest piece of advice that I would give. Make sure you plan out when you're gonna take your trip and buy your ticket at least 6 months in advance, because it's not gonna get cheaper. I don't know, like I had the chance to get a ticket that was about $1,200 and I just kept waiting. Fucking stupid. I don't know what was going through my mind when when I was thinking about this trip, I buy that ticket if it's like from $900 to $1,200 because it's only gonna get more expensive. Yeah, in conclusion, you know, I spent a lot of money. I feel like when people go to Thailand, they say it's pretty cheap, but you can spend a lot if you don't plan effectively. And I should have done a lot more planning and research to make sure that I was getting my money's worth. If I could do it again, I probably would not go to Pattaya or Jomtien Beach. I didn't mind Jomtien, it's just I'd always seen all these things on the internet, and like I literally came back and watched The White Lotus, and I was thinking, I'm like, dude, I didn't see any of this stuff. While Jomtien Beach was very nice, while Koh Larn was beautiful, Koh Larn was incredible. You know, these are not normal beaches. Like they're like, it might be the most beautiful beach that you've ever seen. I'd always seen, I saw Jurassic Park, Jurassic World recently as well. And I know that's where, in Thailand is where they filmed part of that Jurassic World. And I didn't see that, you know. So if I had the opportunity to see something like that versus go to Pattaya, then I would go to like the Phi Islands or Krabi or Phuket. And I also heard that there's some islands like 2 or 3 hours past Pattaya that we could have gone to that are supposedly beautiful. So yeah, I'm happy that we went, you know, but I would have planned the trip a little differently. I thought it was a little strange that the organizer of the trip decided to take like, you know, 15 women on a trip to Pattaya. But you know, whatever. Things that I would do, I would go on the Catamaran tour. I would stay in Jomtien Beach. I would definitely go to Bangkok, of course. Bangkok is really cool. I would make sure that you go to an elephant sanctuary. Just make sure that it's something that's ethical. Go to the Sanctuary of Truth, it's very cool. Bring a second suitcase because you're gonna buy a bunch of stuff. There's always all kinds of markets that you can visit. Please be careful when you're riding motos because it's very dangerous. And make sure that you're getting a tour guide if you go to different historical sites. You know, if you're not a Buddhist and you don't really get it, I guess, having somebody explain it to you can really enhance your experience. So I would recommend that because there are times where I had like the little virtual tour guide and it helped me just understand what I was looking at versus I went to a random temple and, you know, I donated some money. I just didn't really get it. Use the public transit. It's very efficient. It's very cheap. And just make sure you be friendly. You know, if you're nice to people, people are going to be nice to you.